Okay, so we're back. We're going to work on a polygon, like I said. And we already did some of the work. I'm going to show that to you, the highlights, speed it up a little bit so you don't have to see all the little details. You've seen it all on YouTube before. But then we're going to put in our crank set from JG Bike. And that's what we're going to do next. Okay, well, we're starting out by changing the handlebars. And I'm using a blowgun to take the grips off. That's something I saw in another video myself. And it works really good. It saves the grips. You don't have to cut them or nothing. Then we're going to take the controls off. The original bars are 680 millimeter steel. And I'm putting Wake 720 aluminum bars on with a little bit less rise, a little bit more aggressive profile. And they go right on there. And they're a lot lighter than the steel bars. You could tell. I didn't weigh them, but you could tell the way they feel. Fit right in my clamp. And then I'm going to put my goofy hamburger bell on. So when we go riding as a family, we go on canal roads. And I need to ring my bell to get the people out of my way. And then I slid my 11-speed trigger shifter on there. I'm going to hook that up after I change my derailleur. And my brake levers. I'm going to change the hoses around at a later date and bleed them. I put my new comfort grips on there. Real mountain bike guys are probably going to laugh at me, but my hands get sore when I ride. I need them comfort grips. They're nice and soft. And they have locks in them. They stay put. And then there's some caps go on the end of them. You'll see that in a second. Just tightening the locks on the grips. And there's the caps. They go in nice and tight. And that's about it for the handlebar install. Just got to get them caps in. And that's it. Okay, so we're going to take apart the original crank assembly. Pop the chain off, take the center cap, get the 14 millimeter headed bolt out. And you need a puller to get the crank arm off. These ones came off pretty easy, but if it's an older bike, you might have a little hard time. It's a square taper, so it's actually a tapered fit. And same thing over here. Put the puller in, get the crank off. And then we're going to get the bottom bracket out. That uses a special tool. We'll put on there. Regular threads on the non-drive side, reverse threads on the drive side. Okay, so this is our crank arm set from JG Bike. And I really like the quality. It's a lot like the IXP one I put in the Iron Horse bike. And I actually emailed them to tell them that I really liked it. I appreciated the quality.
Oh, did they give you a response?
Yeah, they actually, they actually told me a couple things. They said this little plug here, it's basically puts tension on the other arm to get it pulled up right. This is going to be made out of aluminum in future ones. And you might remember in the last video I said that the sprocket, you really didn't get a choice. Well, they said in upcoming versions, you're going to get a choice of chain wheel, how many teeth, and round or oval, and it's still going to be the same price.
Cool.
One thing I did notice that I wanted to bring out, if you notice here, I don't know if you can see it, but this outer surface, you couldn't put a sprocket on the outside. And that's good and bad, because there's controversy over it sometimes on which side the chain goes. Like if you look at this Bucklos one, you really could put a sprocket on either side of it. It's machine both sides, right? That's good and bad, I guess. But the reason I don't like it is I was going to use this little chain guard. And I can't bolt it on there. It's not a big deal. Really don't do a whole lot. But that's just one thing to notice, that it is a little different. So we're going to start out with our bearings. and they are left and right. And we're going to do a little grease in here, because aluminum frame, aluminum threads. You don't want nothing to gall. Also, the grease keeps the water out a little bit. And don't forget it's a backwards thread on the drive side. Well, I guess technically it's not backwards. I'm going to use one of these washers to start, and I want to check the chain line. So a lot of people make a big deal out of whether them washers are plastic or aluminum. I've never had any problem with either way, so I don't know. And I honestly, without taking a file to it, I can't tell if it's plastic or aluminum. This really could be torqued if I had the proper socket, but I don't. But I have a, my hand is pretty much torque sensitive from doing this for decades. Not really, but that's a good excuse. I don't have one. I'm going to put one washer on there too, and we're going to see how it works out clearance-wise. We put it all together. I did the Iron Horse one like that too, one spacer on each side, and it worked out good. And it don't need to be super tight. Grease this, because there's actually little seals in there to keep the water out of the bottom bracket, which is nice. They're all like that. It isn't unique to JG Bike's version, but it might require two spacers. Maybe not. This thing only requires, I guess because it's plastic, they're only calling for like 3 Newton meters, which is pretty low.
What's a Newton meter?
It's just another measurement of torque. I don't know, don't enough play in there. Feels pretty good actually. That's probably good. I'll torque all this stuff with a torque wrench later. And I want to check. Now I know my seat post tube is 32 millimeters. So half of that would be 16 millimeter. And then I would need another 16 millimeter to the chain line to be 50 millimeter, which is what they're saying the chain line should be on this. And I got about 32. I know you probably can't see it, but I got about 32, 33. So maybe a millimeter off. The spacers are 2.5, so I'm going to leave it right there where it's at. And that's basically the crank installation. I'll torque everything later. Look at that, that's nice. Nope, still drops a little. Oh, I don't have that hooked up no more. I can't show you shifting. Okay, so when you come back, I'm going to have the 11-speed cassette on there. I'm going to have the other derailleur on there. I really just need to get this stuff together because I have some of these parts I'm going to use on the other bikes to keep working on them. So I'm not going to do a whole lot of in-depth stuff unless somebody wants to see something more in-depth. And you know, let me know in the comments and I'll put it in there. So that's all I'm going to do for today.
See you soon.